When I was a kid, my grandfather was diagnosed with cancer. And at first that made us very afraid. But he had a very mild, slow-growing cancer in his kidney. And he had no real problems with it. He had occasional inconveniences. He'd go to the doctor. There might be some mild treatment, but it seemed not to be that big a deal. So when his wife, my grandma, was diagnosed with cancer, we didn't make that big a deal about it. But hers was different. It was more advanced, and it was in her bones. So the doctor was trying to help her understand, this is different than your husband's. This is more serious. And my dad told me the story of a time that he was with my grandmother in an appointment, and the doctor was trying to find different ways to get her to understand what he was saying about the seriousness of her illness. And finally, something shifted inside of her, and she said, "Doctor, are you saying that I have to get my affairs in order?" And he said, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying." And that's what Jesus is saying in the gospel today. It is time for us to get our affairs in order. He says it this way: "At an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come." And a lot of us are a lot like my grandmother. We're not taking it in. We read the Bible, or we hear this at church, and Jesus has lots of different ways that he tries to say it, but it doesn't really sink in. And so he's trying to let us know, tomorrow is not promised to you. That promise was never made. You've got to live for today like it's the only day. Many of you know that last week we lost a beloved community member. RJ was 43. He was very healthy and strong, a great dad. He was building a deck on his pool last month when he developed a cough that wouldn't go away. Doctor thought it was kind of a persistent bug at first. Then they thought it was pneumonia. When he finally went to the hospital to get it checked out, he didn't come home from there. He had late-stage lung cancer. And we had the funeral for him a week ago. There is not a single person in this church that is okay with hearing a story like that. None of us is okay with that. It feels so unfair. Like he didn't get to see his grandchildren. He didn't get to live as long a life as he should have. It's natural to have anger when we lose someone. But Jesus wants us to know anger is fine as a stage of loss. But God never promised that our lives would be long. God's own son lived 33 years and did more with his life than anyone. The length of our lives was never promised to us, but a lot of us put that promise in God's mouth. We think that God has promised that we're going to live to old ages and that we're going to see so much in our lives. Maybe some people do, but maybe not. And Jesus wants us to know we have to get our affairs in order. We have to live like perhaps there's no tomorrow. When someone dies unexpectedly or if there's a tragedy, anger at God is natural. And God can take it. God can take it. But I think when I thought about what makes me angry when something like this happens, what makes me angry is that it feels like non-believers suddenly have a reason to have an advantage over those who believe. It's like when something terrible happens in the community or on the news, people say, "Where's your merciful God now? Where's your good God now? Why would God let this happen? Why do you believe?" And we could start to feel really betrayed, like, "God, I'm trying to spread your message here. You're not making it very easy. Why do you let this stuff happen?" But let's remember something. None of us decided to come here. We didn't decide to come here. We couldn't make ourselves come here. And a lot of us know that we've even tried to start families and can't. I'm an adopted child because my parents were infertile. Any of you who've dealt with infertility know you can't make a child come here. There's absolutely no way. So that's why God never made a promise of when we would come or when we would go. God instead said, stay awake. You don't know the day. You don't know the hour. You need to get your affairs in order. So, that would be a really good spiritual task for this week, don't you think? Wouldn't it be interesting for us to make a list of the affairs that we need to get in order? Wouldn't that be interesting? Well, how about to start at the very beginning? Do you have a living will? Do you have a healthcare proxy? Do you have a will? Do you know who will receive your house or your belongings when you go? Have you met with a funeral director and made a plan? Or is that burden going to be on loved ones who might not know what you wanted and might feel burdened by the expense and all of the decisions that go into that? Do you have a debt that needs to be paid off because you may not be able to pay it off? Is that something that would be a burden to your loved ones? How's your basement looking? Do you have a basement that needs to be put in order, things sorted, given away, sold, thrown out? Do you have a storage unit somewhere that would be a nightmare for your family if you didn't have any notice of your departure? How about your relationships? Is there a relationship in your life that's kind of grown cold? Maybe it's with a sibling or an adult child or with a friend, and you really want to fix that. You don't want there to be unfinished business. Is there someone you need to forgive? When I go to funerals, I notice that the people who are grieving the most are people who had unfinished business with the loved one. It feels terrible. And it's not too late to fix it. Our faith tells us that we have a relationship with those who've gone before us always. But for many people, it doesn't quite feel the same. So they really wish that they'd taken care of that before whatever happened. Do you have an addiction that you're not tending to? Is there something maybe going on in your life that you know you need to work through, but you're putting it off for another day? And so you're saying, I'll get to my drinking problem later. I'll worry about that shopping problem that I have, or the food problem. If you were not here tomorrow and you didn't get a chance to clear your search history on your browser, would you be okay with other people seeing what you've been looking at? How about your relationship with God? Everybody here has a relationship with God. You're here. You wouldn't be here without it. But is there a chance that maybe you need a little more than Sundays? That you need to be talking to God during the week, to be getting to know God better? Because what if you were going to meet God tomorrow? Are you ready for that? What if we were meeting God face to face tomorrow? Would you feel prepared for that? A lot of people will come to talk to me about the anger they feel at God about something that happened. And then they realize while we're talking, anger is the first emotion they've felt toward God in years. They've just been ignoring God for a long time. And now they feel angry. And that's not a full relationship. Jesus is saying, it's time for us to get our affairs in order. He is saying, let's remember the promise that God has made to us. 2 promises in Scripture, and both of them will never be broken. And neither of them is that we will live to be 99 years old like Mary Carnabucci turned yesterday. The 2 promises are, I will be with you always to the end of the age, and you know not the hour or the day.